It was late evening when Adrian Cole, a wealthy yet lonely single dad and CEO of one of the biggest tech companies in the city, sat in his office with his head in his hands. The weight of being both a father and a businessman pressed heavily on his shoulders. His little daughter, Emily, needed him, but so did the empire he had built. And now, to make things worse, he was invited to an elite charity gala where everyone expected him to show up with a date. The whispers about him being a lonely CEO who couldn't balance family and personal life were growing louder, and for once Adrian wanted to silence them. But love wasn't something he could summon on demand. He hadn't let anyone into his heart since the day Emily's mother left, unable to handle the responsibilities of family life. That evening, as he paced across the living room, his eyes fell on Maria, the quiet, kind maid who had been working for him for 2 years. Maria wasn't just a maid to Emily, she was like a second mother, always there with a warm smile, a bedtime story, or a gentle touch when Adrian was away in meetings. Adrian froze for a moment, an idea forming in his mind. It was crazy, he thought, but maybe it could work. Maria, he began hesitantly, his deep voice breaking the silence, I need a favor. Maria, holding a basket of freshly folded laundry, looked up curiously. Of course, sir. What is it? He rubbed the back of his neck nervously. I need someone to go with me to a gala tomorrow night, but not just as a guest. I need you to pretend to be my girlfriend. Maria's eyes widened, and the laundry nearly slipped from her hands. Me, but sir, I'm just your maid. People will notice. Adrian stepped closer, his usually composed face softening. That's exactly why I trust you. You're genuine, kind, and Emily adores you. I don't care what society thinks. I just need someone by my side who won't play games. Maria's heart raced. She had always admired Adrian silently, the way he loved his daughter fiercely despite his busy life. But the idea of stepping into his world, even as a pretend girlfriend, terrified her. If you're uncomfortable, I understand, Adrian added quickly, sensing her hesitation. She looked down at the floor, then back at him. I'll do it, sir, for Emily, and for you. The next evening, Maria transformed. Gone was the humble maid's uniform. Instead, she wore a simple yet elegant navy blue gown Adrian had chosen for her. When she descended the staircase, Adrian found himself unable to speak for a moment. She wasn't just beautiful. She was radiant, the kind of woman who didn't even know her own worth. At the gala, whispers followed them. Who is she? The CEO new girlfriend. She doesn't look like the usual high society women. Maria felt the stares, but every time Adrian squeezed her hand reassuringly, the world faded. They danced, laughed, and for the first time in years, Adrian felt alive again. Watching Maria interact so gracefully, so naturally, made something stir in his chest, something he thought he had buried forever. Later that night, when they returned home, Emily ran to Maria, hugging her tightly. You looked like a princess tonight. She giggled. Adrian stood by, watching the scene unfold. His daughter's laughter filled the house, and Maria's gentle touch made everything feel whole. Over the next weeks, the act of pretending blurred with reality. Adrian found himself looking forward to Maria's presence, not as an employee, but as a confidante. She listened to him, challenged him, and reminded him that life wasn't just about boardrooms and stock prices. It was about family, love, and the small moments that made it all worthwhile. But Maria struggled with her feelings. She knew she was just a maid, and Adrian belonged to a world she could never reach. One evening, as they sat on the patio, Adrian confessed softly, Maria, I don't want this to be pretend anymore. Her eyes widened, tears threatening to fall. Sir, don't joke with me. I could never be enough for someone like you. He took her hands firmly, his voice steady. Don't you see, you're already enough? You've been enough from the moment you walked into this house. You gave Emily love when she needed it most. You gave me hope when I had none. You're not just my maid, Maria. You're the woman who stole my heart without even trying. Maria's tears finally spilled as Adrian pulled her into his arms. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, love didn't care about status or wealth. All it cared about was truth. And the truth was, the single dad CEO had fallen for his maid, not because she was perfect, but because she was real. Emily's laughter rang from the hallway, and Maria smiled through her tears. the little girl had gained more than just a father and caretaker. She had gained a family. And Adrian, once the lonely CEO, had finally found what all his wealth could never buy: love, right in the heart of the woman he had once thought was only his maid, but who turned out to be his everything. Love is not always found in the perfect places or the glamorous parties where people wear masks to hide who they really are. Sometimes love grows quietly in the spaces where kindness is given without expectation, where hearts heal in silence, and where ordinary moments turn into extraordinary ones. And this truth became clear in the story of Adrian Cole, a powerful single dad CEO, and Maria, the humble maid who lived her life in the shadows of his grand mansion, their worlds so different yet destined to collide in the most unexpected way. For Adrian carried the burden of wealth, reputation, and fatherhood on his shoulders. Every business meeting was a battlefield, every headline about him a reminder of his loneliness, and behind the walls of glass offices and high society gatherings, he was just a man trying to be both a provider and a father to his little daughter Emily, who longed for affection and stability after her mother abandoned them. But Maria was different. She was not bound by the rules of the elite or the hunger for fame. She was simple, gentle, and steady, the kind of woman who tucked Emily into bed with a story and a lullaby, who filled the house with warmth when Adrian's schedule made the mansion feel cold and lifeless. She never thought of herself as important, never imagined she would one day stand beside the man whose signature could move millions, until one night when Adrian, desperate to silence the rumors about his solitary life, asked her to do something unthinkable. He asked her to pretend to be his girlfriend, not for love, not for desire, but for appearances. Yet what began as an arrangement slowly unraveled into something real, because when Maria walked down the staircase in that navy blue gown he had chosen, Adrian realized he was seeing her for the first time, not as his maid, but as a woman, graceful and captivating. And when they entered the gala together, hand in hand, the whispers of the crowd could not shake the feeling that they belonged. For every time Maria's eyes met his, the world disappeared, and what was meant to be pretend began to feel like the only truth he wanted. Their conversations flowed with ease, laughter echoing in places where silence once reigned. Adrian discovered that Maria was not only caring but also wise, her words grounding him in ways no board member or socialite could. She reminded him that life was not measured in profits but in moments, in bedtime kisses for Emily, in shared meals at the kitchen table, in the laughter that filled the air when they forgot about who they were supposed to be. Still, Maria's heart wrestled with fear, because she knew she was just the maid. Her world was cleaning floors and folding laundry, not attending galas and mingling with billionaires, and no matter how much her heart fluttered at Adrian's smile, she told herself he deserved someone from his world, someone polished, someone perfect. But Adrian saw through the walls she built. He saw the woman who had mended his daughter's broken heart, who had unknowingly mended his own, and one evening as they stood beneath the soft glow of the patio lights, he confessed the truth that had been burning in his chest. He told her he no longer wanted to pretend, that the charade had become reality for him, and with trembling hands he admitted she had stolen his heart. Maria wept, because all her life she had believed she was invisible, unworthy of such love. Yet in that moment she realized Adrian did not want perfection. He wanted her, the real her, with her quiet strength and unshakable kindness. And as he wrapped his arms around her, she let herself believe in a love that defied status, in a family built not by titles but by trust and affection. Emily's laughter from the hallway sealed the promise of their bond, for she too had found in Maria not just a caretaker but a mother, the missing piece of her young heart. And so the powerful CEO, once defined by wealth and isolation, discovered that the greatest treasure he could ever possess was not his company, not his reputation, but the love of a woman who had entered his life as a maid and stayed as his everything, proving that sometimes the most extraordinary love stories begin in the most ordinary places, when two hearts dare to see each other beyond the barriers of status. And when love is real, it doesn't need to pretend. It simply is, unshakable, undeniable, and eternal.